Hey gang, Sally here. Hope you're having an amazing and fascinating day. I know I am. Look at this. I'm in an actual campground, and I thought this would be a good opportunity to talk about RV setup essentials for beginners. And since I'm hardly ever in a campground and I hardly ever have hookups, why not? So, we're going to roll the intro, and of course before we do that I want to make sure that I thank each and every one of you for watching my videos, and encourage you, if you haven't already, please consider subscribing. If you think you are, double check to make sure, because YouTube does spontaneously unsubscribe people. Comments are always appreciated, thumbs up, none of that stuff costs you anything and it really helps out the channel. So, once again, thank you so much for being here. Let's roll the intro and we're going to get right into step number 1, getting level. Alright, welcome back. Let's talk about leveling. So there are lots and lots of different ways that you can level a rig. And I'm going to talk primarily about a motorhome because that's what I have. But I'm also going to give you some tips for trailers as well. And in part this is going to be, this is how I do it, not how you should do it. So, you know, do what you want that really works for you. Let's get the camera turned around and talk about a few things. Okay. So here we are with the motorhome, right? And first of all, I want you to look at these two back tires here. And you'll notice that I don't have a hubcap, forget that part. But you can see that these two tires are flat on the ground. And I'm showing you this because I didn't understand this for the longest time. Then we're going to go up front and we're going to see that this tire is flat on the ground. And we're going to walk over to the passenger side. Hopefully I'm going to find a truck wash sometime soon because my rig is filthy. This tire is flat on the ground. Now, here's how I level, not necessarily how you should do it. I like these rocker type levelers. They're a little bit hard to see because they're black on black tires, but let's get way down here. So see that rocker there? And I only use these chocks. I've got an emergency brake, and this is a part of, you know, don't do what I do, blah, blah, blah. I put the chocks behind just in case something would happen and they'd roll back so that they don't roll completely off, which seems kind of weird. I think I'll probably stop doing that too. But these give me a couple inches of lift. Now, most people say they're not rated for motorhomes in terms of weight, but these particular ones that I got on Amazon are rated for something ridiculous. I want to say, I think it was like 29,000 pounds. My entire rig weighs 14.5-ish. So I don't think that there's any problem with weight. Some people have complained about this style cracking and breaking. I haven't ever had an issue. And this is the same kind of leveling that I used on my travel trailer as well. So how do you figure out how to level? Well, that's kind of an interesting thing. And I'm going to show you from the inside how I handle that. So let's go in for a moment. Sorry, it's kind of dark and messy because I'm in the trees. Here's how I level. And I'm going to show you exactly how I do it. And people are going to say, oh, you shouldn't do it that way, yada, yada, yada. So here's my phone. And I have an app called Clinometer. So I'm sitting in the driver's seat when I do this. I open the Clinometer app, and I throw it on the floor right behind me. And I want you to notice what the bubble says. It says that I am off by 0.3 degrees in each direction. Now, when I pulled in here, what I could see was that I was high in the front, so it kind of looked like this. A little bit high in the front, and only high on the right-hand side. So by the 2 blocks that I put in, I was able to get pretty daggone close to level. So that's pretty cool. Now, some people do it with, like, they call it a marble test. They'll put a marble on the counter and see if it rolls. I call it the scrambled egg test, because sometimes I'll put scrambled eggs, you know, scrambled eggs in a frying pan and they all drift to one side of the pan. Well, that's pretty unlevel. So what's important about being level? I guess some people would say the number one thing is being comfortable. I don't think that's necessarily true. for me, the number one thing about being level is that I want to make sure that my refrigerator operates properly. And so with an absorption style fridge on an RV, oops, sorry. Look who's unhappy because he can't reach me. Okay. All right. Let's come over here. Let's get Kit. Let's get Kit. Because we can't ever have Kit where he can't reach me. We know that to be true. Now we'll see if he's going to climb up on the picnic table with me too. Yep, he is. Okay. Okay, crazy boy. Okay. Hey, can you talk to the people? Ouch. 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 Kit, stop. Stop. Hey, Kit, we're trying to make a video here. Kit, sit. No. Sit. Thank you, good boy. Look, we're talking to the people. We're talking to the people in there. You don't want to talk to the people right now, huh? Okay, so I'm gonna try and do this. So there we go. So what's important about being level is that an absorption style refrigerator doesn't operate correctly when it is off level. And it's an accumulated effect. So the more time you spend off level, the worse that is. I've done some other videos on that exact subject. I'm not going to spend a whole lot of time on it here. But for me, the number one thing is the fridge being level. The second thing is comfort. And so I don't want to sleep with my head downhill, for example, and the head of my bed is toward the rear of the coach. So that's what's really important about being level. Now, what other things are really important to know as a new RVer? Well, if you're going for hookups, and I guess the first thing I would say is, learn that you really don't need hookups all the time. I mean, it's very unusual for me to have hookups, and frankly, the only reason I'm doing it is that I'm in an Army Corps of Engineers camp. It's in first come, first serve season here. Beautiful fall colors. And this is costing me $10 a night for hookups. So why wouldn't I do this? And I wanted a place where I could stay and rest and relax for a little while. Why are you chewing on my hand, young man? Is he like the cutest thing? Don't jump. Don't jump. That's too high. This is going to be the strangest video I've made in a long time, I think. All right, so next up, let's talk about the hookups. Now that you got in and you got leveled, that's the first thing you want to do. Kit, why are you chewing me? Would you stop? Would you stop, please? Please? Hey, crazy boy. Why are you crazy? Why are you crazy? Now that you've gotten in and gotten leveled, the next thing you want to do is hook up your utilities. And here's how you do that. Hang on. All right, let's go this way. Let's go look at utilities. Not talking, well, I guess I am talking to you too. I'm going to flip this around again and show you what's going on at the power pedestal. So, when you come to a power pedestal, the first thing that you should do is lift the lid, look at the switches. See how the third switch is up? Well, that's because the power is on right now. But when you come here, you want to make sure that all of the switches are pointed down. So this outlet on the left-hand side, that's a 50 amp outlet, usually for like fifth wheels, bigger travel trailers, and Class A's that have multiple air conditioners. This is the 30 amp outlet that I'm using, and I always use a surge suppressor. Now, I'm partial to Progressive Industries. I've been using this particular style, since 2016, and I love their guarantee. They've been very, very good to me. So let's talk about what we're looking at here. Probably going to get some flicker. PE4. We just got a fault. E0 PE4. Let's make sure we're plugged in all the way. And we are. Well, this is a good demonstration for you. All right, we're going to come look down here on the side, and E4 is low voltage. Huh. All right, so let's see what this says. E0 PE4, 125 volts, 1A. Huh, I have never seen this before. Okay, well this is new and exciting. I might have to go Google that. So I'll tell you what I'm going to do. I'm actually going to turn this switch off right here. Okay. And I'm going to come over and I'm going to actually unplug my coach from the pedestal. And I'm using an extension cord because I'm far enough away from the pedestal that it couldn't reach otherwise. Now, why did I just unplug? Because if it turns out that there's a surge or a fault, I don't want to be putting that into the coach. So now we're going to come back over here and we're going to turn it on again. So we're off. Now we're on. And now we're going to look at what it says. 126 0 amps E0. 126 0 amps 60 hertz E0. Alright, so that's exactly what it's supposed to be. I have no idea why we were getting that fault before. But you're getting a total demonstration that I wasn't planning to give you, so there you go. So now we're going to open the lid again. I am once again turning off the switch because here's the deal, guys. You really do not want to be plugging in with the switch live. So turn it off, plug in your surge suppressor, make sure the pedestal is okay, and then plug in your coach. So now here we go, plug him back in. And then the other thing I do is I always throw my cord underneath the rig. Probably just got a face full of me because I forgot which way the camera was facing. But I throw the cord underneath the rig so that if it rains, I'm not going to have to worry about water getting in where I've got two cords connected. All right, so here we are back at the pedestal. We're going to turn this on again. And we're going to watch it together. 126 0 amps, 60 hertz E0. All right, so we're fine. So now you just learned everything you need to know about how to handle the pedestal. And that doesn't matter if you're in a travel trailer or a motor coach. Now, most RVs come with a 25 to 30 foot power cord. And I actually have an extension cord in addition to my regular power cord, which comes in handy, as you can see, periodically. So you might want to consider getting an extension cord if you don't have one already. Pretty sure you will probably need one. This is the water faucet. Now this is theoretically a frost-proof faucet, and I didn't check if they told me the water's off. I assume it is. And yes, it is. I just opened it up all the way. So one thing people aren't always aware of is that it's not open unless the valve handle is all the way up. That's not open. Okay? So make sure your handle's all the way up. Now, and that's off. Now, no water is coming out because this is November, and the campground has shut down water at the individual sites at this point. And if you want fresh water, you have to get it from the dump station, where they have a separate potable water spigot, not just for rinsing your tanks. So, and that's what I did when I got here yesterday. I stopped at the dump station, I dumped my tanks, I filled up my freshwater tank, and yeah, everything is good. So why do they have the water turned off at the individual campsites? Well, part of the reason for that is that a lot of people aren't aware that if the weather gets too cold and freezes, it's possible for you to damage their water system. If you have your hose connected and you leave that water faucet turned on, water can freeze in the hose and actually back up into their valve, especially if they're not using a frost-proof valve. So it's easier just to turn it off. But keep in mind, if you're at a campsite and it is going to be, very cold, freezing temperatures, then before you go to bed at night at least, go ahead and unscrew your hose from the hose bib and leave it off overnight. I'm just coming back over here to look because I heard something crack, which I think was just a branch. Okay, so we've talked about how to level. We've talked about hooking up your utilities. Go around. Go around. Nope. Kit. Kit. Go around. Go around. Come on. You are being so stubborn today, little boy. Usually he's like all into this. Right now he's all into going crazy, I guess. This is a really nice campsite. This is the, if I had a tent, this is where you'd put up a tent. If I had a screen room, this is where I'd put up a screen room. I don't carry, I don't carry much stuff. And as you can see, so people often spend a lot of time setting up their campsite and stuff and putting out their rug and their chairs and yada, yada, yada. I'm really very much a minimalist in that regard. It's not really warm enough that I want to be sitting outside right now for extended periods. However, it's supposed to be in the 70s tomorrow, so I might get out a chair and spend most of the day outside. We'll see. The thing that I know is the more stuff I get out, the more stuff I have to put away. And I'm not a big fan of putting things away. Now, one of the things that I do get out is a doormat, because that extra step of being able to wipe my feet off I find to be really helpful. Those are things that are going to be important when it comes to setting up your campsite once you arrive. But there's a couple of things to talk about before you arrive, that you'll want to do before you arrive. And one in particular, I mean, for me, it's not just before I get someplace, it's something that I'm monitoring constantly, which is tire pressure. Okay, so tire pressure is pretty crucial. And the biggest cause of tire failure is driving on underinflated tires. I use a TPMS system, tire pressure monitoring system, that monitors my tire pressures and temperatures constantly. And my habit when I'm getting ready to leave from one location is that I'll turn on my TPMS and then I finish packing up inside. And then I check to see that all of my tires are at, a proper inflation before I take off. So that's not something you're going to do before you arrive. Well, it's not something you're going to do when you arrive at the campsite. You'll do that before you travel, and you'll do it when you're getting ready to leave to make sure that your tires really are properly inflated. And that's a super, super important thing. I can only imagine what having a blowout would be like in terms of doing some catastrophic damage. I mean, these are steel-belted radial tires, and if a tire blows, the steel belts can do an incredible amount of damage to your coach. In fact, I've got a friend whose trailer was completely totaled as the result of a tire failure. So tire safety is super, super important. And then, of course, the other thing that you're going to want to do, especially if you're camping in cold climates, is make sure that your propane is as full as you want it to be for the length of time you're going to be staying. Now, in this case, part of the reason that I chose to come to a campground is I'm plugged into electricity. And that means that I am running my space heater for heat instead of running my propane furnace on board. And that's great for a couple of reasons. One is that it helps to save on propane, and another is that it cuts down on noise, especially at night, because the propane heater is fairly loud. So I'm saving a bunch of propane and I'm cutting down on noise. The noisier your environment when you're trying to sleep, the lower the quality of sleep that you get. And sleep quality is terribly important to me, which is why I try and be as quiet as possible location, and I try really hard to make sure I've got as dark an environment as possible. And that's difficult, by the way, in an RV or a trailer, because there are all these little idiot lights that are on all the time, even at night. So things like your smoke alarm and your CO detector and, little LEDs on a bunch of different things. So I've gone out of my way to, make everything as dark as I possibly can, because it's been proven that you sleep better in a dark environment. Anyway, those are just a few tips to get you started, especially as a beginner in your RV life. Hope you found this helpful. If you did, please leave a comment down below about what you found most useful. If you've got tips as a seasoned RVer to share that I didn't talk about this aspect of setting up your initial camp, please add those as well. And as always, thank you so much for coming along, and we'll look forward to seeing you on the next one.